Very, very, very good morning, folks. So, this morning, it's fun. My little microphone did a magic trick, and it did it yesterday too. What was the magic trick, Jim? Well, see on the back of these, it's a little magnet, which I think is like probably one of the most brilliant things anyone could ever do for a clip-on microphone. After all the years of using the little lapel mics that had the little alligator clips, they were always, yeah, they were cumbersome. They get in the way, blah blah. These are totally wireless, and that's awesome, and I love it. And the little magnet is brilliant because it can kind of go anywhere until the little magnet decides to fall down your shirt and then disappear into the abyss, and I honestly have no idea where it's at. And I have been on my hand. It couldn't go far. It just went right down my shirt, and then it was gone. I'll find it afterwards. I had the extra one from the second mic. It's okay. Breathe. This is why we have coffee. Makes it all better. That was just weird though. Anyway, how's everybody doing this Thursday morning, December the 11th, 2025? And we're having coffee. Because coffee is going to make it all better. I wasn't even jittery, man. Well, maybe a little. I don't know. Anyway, how's your week going? We're almost through another one of those inside of that programming of 5-day work week, which doesn't really exist anymore, but still some do. So I hope your work week is going well. Your weekend is something you're looking forward to. If you still have one of those things, I think it's great all the way across the board. I know it's funny. It's been a great morning. It's like if you saw like the morning calendar pick with Flip, and I printed this little heart. It was kind of a last minute thing, to be honest with you. It was like this cute little heart. He's just hanging out, little golden heart. And it was funny because again, it was I had a little bit of a hiccup with the printer, and I was needing to get it worked out. I had another thing that I was going to print, but that didn't work out due to said hiccup. But I wanted to do something, plus I wanted to get the printer lined out and all that. And I found that model for that little heart that just sits there and looks all cutesy. But then I got to think, well, what does this really mean? Because it's kind of funny how that grabbed me. I was like, well, that's kind of fun. And it was going to be red, but there was a problem with the red filament, didn't want to cooperate. And I said, well, what else would be a good color? So I printed the gold one. And then the marketing brain kicked in and spun it all the way around. But there was a message there that I didn't realize was there. Those with a golden heart, the heart of gold folk. You know what I'm talking about? And it's funny because it kind of fits with kind of where I was going today anyway. So it was serendipitous in that. So, but those with a heart of gold, you ever stop and think about those folks? Actually, do that right now. Think about that one person that, you know, either yourself or a lot of people will refer to as having a heart of gold. And I've known quite a few, thankfully, over my years on this planet, but a heart of gold. And with the gold value being what it is, boy, they're even more priceless than they were before, right? Right. But I don't know. It was funny because like yesterday, Alicia and I, we were out. We've been working on grabbing the virtual stump videos, which that has been updated. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. But and we got the opportunity to go pop in and see Rick and Shirley. We love them to death. I mean, you talk about folks with a heart of gold. If you know Rick and Shirley Schoenberger, I've totally Rick and Shirley Schoenberger. See, coffee makes everything better. But it's so fun. We just simply adore them, and I've watched them over the years do things genuinely out of the kindness of their hearts. No reward looked for or anything else. And Rick can be a little gruff sometimes, but that's part of his charm and personality. I firmly I attest to that because I know him well enough. I'm going to pin that to the top there. Oh yeah, then last night I was playing around and I put that AI generated image of Elon Musk reading Toys or Totems because it'd be good for him. You know, I think so anyway. It could very well be. So anyway, so there I am there. Let's see if we can get to comments and such to see what's going on, just to keep up. Hey, there we go. There's Damien. Most days are the same. We got to work on that, buddy. We have got to work on that. But yeah, good morning, Damien, and everybody else who's starting to come on board in this wild and wacky thing we call a live stream podcast, just to have coffee, talk about things, kick up some ideas. And just enjoy the morning, man, because again, the world is a heavy place sometimes. But here's a funny story. Here's my daughter. Okay, for those of you who know Caitlin, you've probably watched her grow up because she's always been like right by mine and Alicia's side on so many different projects and things that we've done, and so she's kind of grown up. I don't want to say it's like in the public spotlight thing, but in a way in the public spotlight, and it's so funny because she has evolved into one of the funniest creatures you will ever meet. And did I say creature? Yes, because she's a teenage girl and she's only like a week away from becoming 16. Can you believe that? But yeah, so anyway, yesterday is so funny. She surprised Daddy once again. And okay, so now I say older folks, either older folks or also well-versed younger folks in the audience. Now, again, I share stories with Caitlin. I try to frame them as lessons and things, not too cold and callous, mind you, but just funny memories, experiences I've had, and especially like back in the radio days. It's going somewhere, I promise. But it was so funny because last night when she got home, she was running around with her grand having a good time. And anyway, one of the stories from the radio days, and back then when this was still kind of a thing, it's a thing now, of course, with the internet as far as like stalkers and stuff like this. Well, back then when we didn't have the internet, but you had radio, and if you were a person on the radio, there was a possibility you would wind up with stalkers. And I had my share of a few. And hence why you'd always use like a fake name or whatever, or at least that's what we told ourselves. But anyway, um, it's just so funny. I told her, about the film I told her about some of those stories and some of those, uncomfortable experiences with people just kinda showing up, trying to follow you home, things like that, or the weird gifts you would receive at the station. And, I told her about the movie, the Clint Eastwood movie. Remember this one, kids? "Play Misty for Me." And that's stuck, and we had talked about that. I don't even know when the last time we actually talked about that. But lo and behold, my daughter, in her incredible sense of humor, came across this old 45, or excuse me, it was 45, and Johnny Mathis and Misty. That's my daughter. So I am going to be sure to bust out the record player that everybody has again, and I'm going to play Misty for her, actually very loudly and a lot because that's just funny. I again, I'm biased. I truly love my daughter, and I love her sense of humor. Her quick wit. Oh my lord, this child has a quick wit, and I'm tickled pink that she does. I really do. But yeah, play Misty for me, Dad, as she hands me the record. Caitlin. But that was great. Absolutely great and fun. But go back to like talking about when we stopped by, and Alicia and I got to chat with Rick and Shirley for a little while. And again, going back to this whole Heart of Gold accidental totem of the day. It's just great. I mean, we just love hanging out with them, catching up on things, and just conversing about stuff over all the years, you know. And I don't know. It was a great conversation and a good time to hang out with friends. And so here's a challenge I want to put before you. Again, first, I want you to think about that person that has that heart of gold. Think about it. You know who they are, right? So do this today. It's a lesson in gratitude and thankfulness. Take the time today, as you see that person in your mind, to look up their phone number, send them a message, send them an email, or even better, go by and stop and have a conversation if you can. And because it's good for both of you. You ain't even got to tell them why you're there, other than you just want to go say hi. But those types is great because it really rubs off on you. Just being in their presence. That to me is like what really represents someone with that heart of gold. When you're just hanging out with them and you just feel better because you did. Is it a little selfish? Yeah. But you know what? It's good for everybody involved. So anyway, that's a challenge from me to you on this Thursday, December the 11th. That's a little cool again, 33 out there if you happen to be in the 72601 region. So that's kind of all over the place, but it looks to be a nice day, partly sunny, maybe a little bit more sun than clouds, or it could go back and forth. who knows? Overall, it's nice if you check out what's happening with Storm Track 360 and what Brandon's tracking and following. He keep you updated if it's going to get dicey. So I always recommend that. Sliding over to the virtual stump. This thing is really growing well. I'm very happy with it because again, this is like my project. I wanted to do something because think about it. A connect, an informed community is a connected community. I firmly believe that, and things have changed so much in the past couple decades as far as like when it comes to like media sources. And see, I had a conversation yesterday, actually, with Tyler Gentry when we were recording her virtual stump video. In regards to like, and I've had this conversation with a lot of folks, but when it comes to like the attention span of people like to blame. I'm not saying Tyler did, but people like to blame like social media specifically for the lack of attention span on people. And I think there's some truth to that, but another thing to kind of reframe it just a little bit. And now social media be a bit of a root, but I think the root goes a little bit deeper with just the internet as a whole, because the internet allowed for something that we never had before the internet, and that is a multitude of choices, literally endless choices for anything that could tickle your fancy. And then when you start going down and surfing the web like we did back then, I don't, does anybody even use that term anymore? Because now it's just all about scrolling or doom scrolling or something. So, but does anyone really surf the web? Hmm. Interesting. That could be a term that just doesn't exist anymore. Don't know. But when you think about that, it's just there's so many options. I think that kind of lends into more of the lack of attention span. It's not just just the little blips, so much as so many blips. And we, as remarkably creative creatures with an incredible imagination, we have the ability to want to know more and to do more and to learn more and see more and touch and taste the feel and do all that. That I think that it's about so much variety, maybe too much variety at your on-demand fingertips. I know, actually, Dan Reynolds and I had this conversation a very long time ago because it was actually back in the when cable still ruled the roost. As far as it was, cable was truly it was a monopoly of sorts when it came to uh, information and entertainment distribution. Because again, like if you live up here in the Ozarks area, it was kind of tough because getting a television signal in the analog days could be really tricky, right? So cable was the best alternative, or satellite, but it was the best alternative in that you could get a clear picture, sound, and signal, right? Um, and I'm sure there are plenty of regions like that. But when you think about that, you were stuck with a package. Now the basic package, with at one point, like forever, stayed at like $35, and you got X number of channels and all that. And then you normally only watch like 3 regularly, maybe 4. Um, and then if you wanna do the premium stuff. But you were stuck with that $35 package for X number of channels that the majority of which you did not watch, right? And so we'd had that discussion when it comes to, like, à la carte programming, to where cable was adamant against it as far as the cable industry. And from one point of view, it seems like, well, that's kinda crappy, let us have a choice. But the reasoning behind it is when it came to those carrier packages, it got expensive because they still had to pay in some instances for certain channels, right? To carry the channels, or the channels paid them. It was a mess. But the point is, it was a volume thing. So the more and how it worked is how they could afford to provide the service. And if you think about it, $35 a month really wasn't bad. But then when it started shooting up to like 79, $80 a month just for the basic package, it just got out of hand. And so with the internet and then the ability for streaming to get as fast as it is now, to where you can watch this live stream video pretty crystal clear, you got to make more choices on your own. So you could do things a la carte, like all the streaming services. Um, so it's just all changed so much. But then again, it still gives you maybe too many options. Maybe, as far as like being the thing that impacts the attention span. Sort of like I just squirreled right there for a second. That's also why I have notes, because with these notes, I can better keep Jim on target. So I don't know, but just thinking about that when it comes to attention span. But anyway, getting back to that conversation that I had with Tyler for a minute, it was great because we had a time set up with her, and so we got over there. Rush Plaza. Rush Plaza. I never remember the name of the place, but it's a great building and beautiful inside. I love it. I do. The architecture is really cool, and the mural on the wall that is commemorating the flood of '61, really neat. If you haven't been in there and you're in downtown Harrison, go stroll by and take a look. It's pretty cool. Um, but anyway, as we continue, as like so, we talked with Tyler, we got the video recorded, and then Mike Bishop walked in. So bang, it's like two with one stone. So that was really cool. And so anyway, so now let me show you how this works. If you go over here to 72601life.com, you'll click on the virtual stump here. Let me just go back. I'll show you from the beginning. So you come over here, 72601life.com. You can't really see. Can you see that there? I don't know. I'm fidgety. But anyway, but you click on underneath me. Ha! Look at that virtual stuff. Takes you to the page. There's also some other redirect domains we've got. You're not worried about that, though. I understand. But this kind of explains the mission of this because this is a community thing. And we're focusing for the next week and a half to get everybody who's on the Boone County ballot on this thing, sharing the simple three questions of who they are, what they're running for, and why they should vote for you, or why you should vote for them. Excuse me. Anyway, so, and that's the mission because, again, it gives you an opportunity to have one place to look. And if you're having a conversation with someone who's completely disconnected with the uh, the campaign season and elections and all that stuff, well, this is a very absolutely 100% nonpartisan thing. It's simply a media outreach that can allow for people to learn about the people who want to run for office and represent you. Okay, it ain't about politics. It's about people. So just keep that in mind. So, but we're filling it up pretty well now, and so and again, I'm gonna be buckling down because let's see here. We've got True in the state rep District 5 race. We've got Truman, we got Kyle, we got Jeff, we got Mike. We're still waiting on word back from John Burnside, Boone County Sheriff. Both those guys were very quick to hop in with Tim Robertson and Mark Forsey. So you can go learn a little bit more about them today, side by side, back to back. Learn a little something. And then we come down here, Boone County Judge again, Tyler Gentry. She's the first one to pop up on the stump, and so her video is there now. We're still going to be reaching out to James and Bobby and Danny and Chris. The coroner, like I said, I got a lot of, and this is on me. It's not on them. Other than if you catch wind of this and you know them, let them know that I'm coming to just say hi, and we get this video done. Okay. Okay. Again, totally free service for them and you, sponsored by AMP Multimedia LLC and Toys R Totems. I might as well go ahead and pitch the book, right? Because that's my one product I'm very proud of. I'm putting out there. District 9, Jody's up, and still need to get a hold of Ralph. I unfortunately missed the Quorum Court meeting, which would have been a great opportunity for to catch some of these guys, but it happened. So anyway, but now also you'll see here specifically in Boone County. Now, when it comes statewide, I'm going to be focusing on the contested races because again, I know why am I doing this and wanting to expand statewide? Because I'm sure there are some resources out there, but they're not my resource. And I got the bug. I'm like, I'm going to go do this, and I am. And actually, kind of Alicia encouraged it too. So that said, I just wanted that more encompassing thing, just to do it because I know I can. Again, the technology allows for it, and it's a great service. And I know there are a lot of the smaller counties and communities that they don't have someone to do this. This is not pedestalizing myself or anything else or my efforts, but these things and doing these things, they cost money, right? And it's not like I'm pouring tons of money into this. No, I don't have to because I already invested over the years a lot to be able to do stuff like this, um, to where there's no like out of pocket cost, if you will. I just learned how to do stuff, and as such, I'm just applying it along the way because it just makes sense to me. It may not make sense to others, but it makes sense to me. I could do it, and it doesn't keep food out of the mouths of Jack the Wonder Dog and the other critters around here, so why not? And it doesn't take a whole lot of time, really. So, but anyway, but going back over here, like I said, goal right now for the next week and a half is to get everybody on the Boone County ballot. And that includes the folks who are running unopposed. Because why? Because this is a community outreach, so you get to know who is who, like your JPs. That's a very important office, and I think it gets shadowed by it's not again, it's not like a sexy office. It's not like when you're looking at like a mayor's race, governor's race, president, like those top tier executive races that always get the attention. But here's the thing: it's the not quite right term, but we'll say the ones underneath them. It's not as in below them, but it's the foundational structure of how our elected representative government works, right? You've got to have all these blocks in place that then in turn are the true representatives of the public. And then they take the information that you give and they work it out, debate it out, come up with what is the best agreed upon uh, solution, decision, possibility, and then they move it on up to that next food chain that goes all the way up into that whole pyramid thing and the all-seeing eye. I'm only playing, but that's just the structure of things and how it works. And so a lot of these positions, like justice of the peace, it can be stuck in the shadows where it deserves more of a spotlight. Um, so, but get to know folks. And then, like when it comes to the constable positions here in Boone County, and all of that. Then, of course, the school boards, Alpena, Bergman, Harrison, Lead Hill, Valley Springs, so on. So it's all there because again, this is like the first leg of this thing is about uh, informing, educating, and encouraging folks in Boone County to participate because it's truly our right to do so as an Arkansan, as an American, to do these things because this is how we shape how we do. And if you don't at least have the knowledge of what's going on and who we are saying can do the job for us, well, then it's if you don't vote, you can't complain. Well, no, you still can. I'll go along with George Carlin on that. It's like you can still complain all you want, whether you do or whether you don't vote. But at the same time you could be a better human if you just at least get informed. So you don't wind up finding yourself going down gossip circles that do no one any good. Don't get me wrong, gossip is a fantastic form of entertainment, but I promise you, if it were a food, it's not very filling and it doesn't last long, and most likely it's going to give you diabetes. So just saying. But anyway, that's the whole point and purpose there is like, there we go. And so, but we're going to expand it out to the state. It's an ambitious thing but we've mapped out the system, how it can work, how it will work. Now we're not going to travel the state. No, 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 no. That's where it would get just crazy. All 75, well, it'd be the other 74 counties in Arkansas. Nah, man, that's now that would be logistically impossible. Well, implausible, not impossible, but implausible. Because I don't want to be on the road that much. But it could happen. Very well could. But I know thanks to devices such as the one I'm using right now, I can get with all of these people everywhere at any time. And so we will utilize that technology to populate the Arkansas virtual stop. And so that's a comment. Another thing, though, inside of all of this is you're going to start seeing a rollout of educational videos, explainer videos, as far as like, because there's a lot of people, and I'm not picking at all. I mean, if I'm picking at anybody, it's the public education system for not teaching anyone anything. But, and I will stand on that. But when it comes to like the civic process, civic duties, and things like that, folks don't know. Like a lot of folks, and this is not just kids. I'm talking about even up into the boomers, man. They may not be aware of how it works when it comes to registering to vote, where to vote, how to vote, why you should vote, all of those things. And so I'm looking to fill in those holes with some simple, short, to the point, informational, educational videos. And that may not be your bag, and that's okay. But I want to just have it out there. And so people can check it out and learn a little something if you want to. And if I can encourage you to learn, well, then I've done things on the planet that makes me feel better. And so here we go. What else is going on? Kind of just glancing over at stuff. There we are. Okay. So anyway, so that kind of covers the ground there with the virtual stuff. But again, so it's been updated now with Tyler Gentry, who is running for Boone County Judge, as well as State Representative District 5 candidate Mike Bishop. So he's up in there. And so we're going to continue just filling and fluffing it out with goal, the goal, the destination. So I'm working on the journey to get all the way there, hopefully by next Friday have everybody recorded and in the can for Boone County that's on the ballot. Then when it comes to like focusing on the state races, like when it comes to the governor, um, and then the U.S. Senate races, because there's a lot more people running for the U.S. Senate than I think folks realize. I know there are three people, I believe, on the Republican ticket with the incumbent Tom Cotton, Jeb Little, local guy, and then Micah. I forgot Micah's last name. Forgive me, Micah, but I just caught wind of her, and Micah Ashby. I think I think she's down in Faulkner County, like around Conway. But again, this is why I got to learn a little something too, because again, although, well, no, actually, you will be able to vote if she winds up on the ballot. And she will be on the primary ballot, right? Right. Because yeah, for the Republicans, it'll be Jeb Little, Tom Cotton, Micah Ashby. So you'll be picking those three to go into the general in November. So I want to give you the opportunity to know who these folks are, because now I'm going to say something here. I'm not wanting to throw a spotlight on any one person, but the reality is that when you have an incumbent such as Tom Cotton, those who want to run against, because it's all right to do so. The thing is, though, that's part of the money machine. Not saying good or bad, but I'm saying Cotton's got the money behind him. Where I'll bet Jeb Little and Micah Ashby, they don't. And then the other candidates that are on the ballot, and I'm not, again, I got to get myself educated here. That's why I do this. But I think on the Democrat side, I'm pretty sure. I don't think all six of these people are on the Republican ticket. I don't think so. Anyway, Ethan Dunbar, Haley Schaffner, and Dan Whitfield are the other three candidates running for U.S. Senate. But again, I'm in Boone County. Boone County is primarily a red county, so most of the things happening with the primary in March are on the Republican ticket, getting ready for November. But understand this: when it comes to like the JP races, the county judge, sheriff, all that, since there's no Democrat running against them to face off in the general, it's very important that even though it's like early and not November voting season, see the March primary election is very important in Boone County because of that reason. Because actually everything is solved in March, the majority of. So they're all solved in March because whoever wins that primary, the March primary, is actually the winner that would be crowned in November. Does that make sense? Because there's no one opposing them in November. So when you get to the ballot box in November, it's just a straight down the line. So be aware of that. So March is actually a very important election locally and most likely throughout the state. And that's where I'm going to do the footwork. And again, this is footwork that I'm doing. I don't expect you for 1 second to say, well, Jim, how can I help you out? Number one, I'm cool. Thank you. Uh, but this is just a passion project because it's the one newsy thing that I can do that I have far more control over and I can manage more so than trying to run up and down the streets and stuff. It's just, I know I can't do that anymore, but I don't want to, I can't not fulfill that part of me. I can't, and I don't want to let that go. It's like, because it's still the old reporter journalist in me is still there, even despite I can play disc jockey, public presenter again anytime I want. But and that's fun, and that's why I want to make sure that when we have our coffee talk, I put something in your head that can hopefully encourage you to look at something a different way. Again, today's challenge. What is today's challenge? In case you're tuning in late, if you saw the little calendar with Flip and this little gold heart right here, again, I want this to inspire you to think about that person that has a heart of gold. You know who they are. You see them in your head right now. Now, take the initiative at some point today, maybe even right now. Make a phone call. Send them a message, send them an email, text them, make plans to actually meet up with them to have coffee. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Yes. 29 minutes into the 8 o'clock hour. Wow, I've been moving right along this morning. But yeah, so do that. I challenge you. It'll make, it's the little things like that that could do so much wonder for people. And again, what's my mission in all of this craziness that I bring you? To enhance organic creativity and connection in the world of AI and social media. And that challenge right there fits the bill. So, this little happenstance of an idea to print a little heart of gold really meets that mission. I love little serendipitous things like that. So, anyway, do that. I challenge you. I double dog dare you. I triple dog dare you. You'll feel better, and other people will too. What else we got going on here on my handy dandy notes of things to make the world a better place? Oh yeah. Okay. And in thinking about the heart of gold aspect of things. And again, every day we're going to do this because I firmly, truly, really believe in the message of my book, or I wouldn't have written it. And it has helped me tremendously, and it may do the same for you. Because again, this thing is not about toys. This is about connecting inside of you with your inner creativity and imagination that you may have lost sight of. Just saying. Try it. You might like it. But anyway, today I'm pulling from chapter 12. And again, another thing about this book, you'll see it's a small book. Why? Because I could babble on and on like I do and thousands of words per chapter, but why? I wanted to get to the point. I wanted a resource that got you thinking and that you could use productively, pragmatically, not just philosophically, right? That's been the goal. I feel pretty confident, man. But anyway, chapter 12 is shelf to self integration and really fits in so well. Again, it was all by happenstance with this little heart of gold, but self to shelf integration. Okay, now if you had the book, you read the book, or you've been paying attention on the readings of the book, chapter 12, we're in part 3, if you will, where we're kind of like really reclaiming the spark aspect of life. Chapter 12, page 61, shelf to self integration. By now, you've seen the pattern. The toys were never just plastic. They were mirrors. They were maps. They were messages. And now it's time to turn all of that outward, to take what you've gathered and apply it consciously to how you move through the world. What? Yeah. This is the integration chapter. Because if a totem is truly doing its job, it doesn't just sit on your shelf, it shows up in your choices. This is that empowerment thing I was talking about. Now ask yourself, what does this figure represent to me? What quality does it call out or call forward? How can I embody that in my real life today? There's a little bit more there, but that right there ends perfectly on the challenge that I'm putting before you guys. Think about that person in your life that has a heart of gold. And what about this? What if it's someone that you've only observed, you've never met, you don't really know them, they're not exactly friends or family, but you've observed them some way, somehow. You see them online, you see them at the store, you've watched them from afar, and you can just see that heart of gold that's in them. Reach out to them and just say hi. Give them a little nudge. There's nothing wrong with that little expression of kindness. Boy, that's bold, Jim. Why not? Be nice to each other. That's the best we can do. You got nothing to lose in trying it. Nothing at all, and a whole lot to gain. I that I can attest to. For real and for true. So I do hope you will do that. Take me up on it. And if I'm wrong, tell the story. I'd love to hear it. But I think you're going to get a whole lot more out of it than you might realize. Coffee. Coffee is good. I like coffee. So anyway, what else is going on in your world, ladies and gentlemen? Tell me, share with me. Let's know, because the more we can talk and the more we can spread the word, then we can have more things to talk about over coffee. Which, again, I want to put a reminder out. Now, the auction is still going through tomorrow for the vintage Goblin golf cart, the Goblin Spirit. That all proceeds are going to, again, here's a whole lot of people with hearts of gold, and the folks with CCM here locally, the Children's Charity Ministry, 100% of the auction monies that come in goes to them, because Rick and Shirley donated that cart, because Rick had picked it up, wanted to do like a full restore on everything, but as life and things happen, it's like it's just not, he just can't get to it right now. So he's like, you know what, do something good with it, not only just for CCM, but also two ladies with sincere hearts of gold. Even if they were gruff around the edges, don't get me wrong. Now, I'm not the type who's going to, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Again, there's no human being on the planet that is of that perfect nature, but that's kind of beautiful too. But when it comes to both Mary Jean and Liz, if you knew them, and I'm going to hope you get to know a little bit about them and their legacy aspect as I tell you the story, is they both had a wonderful, charming thing about being a little gruff around the edges. Because when they had their blinders on, it's something they were working on or they were committed to. Um, don't get in their way. They're going to throw elbows. You wouldn't believe Mary Jean could throw elbows. She could throw elbows. And Liz would actually pick her up so she could get a little bit more lift, right? But so no, but again, it's like both of those, when it came to the things that they supported in the city, with Mary Jean on the council and all of the things that she had. I mean, you've even got like the fire department's rescue raft boat thing. You know, it's called the Mary Jean because Mary Jean put the work into getting that thing funded so they would have that rescue vessel, and that's awesome. And then Liz, you will never find, but I hope you will. I hope that Liz inspired folks out there to do as she did, a bigger proponent of the local music scene, along with everything else that Liz was involved in with the Christmas lights, even the benches down the square that's or on the courtyard downtown. I mean, Liz, when she was in, she was all in, and that heart of gold right there, they are truly missed. But the legacy that's left could be an inspiration for you to maybe shine up your own because you got it in you. I know you do. I mean, I don't have to twist your arm or necessarily put a camera on you to prove it because most folks don't really care for that. And I get that. And you don't have to. Don't chase that. Or maybe if you want to chase that, you can do either way. But you know, again, those legacies from people like Mary Jean and Liz and plenty others before and hopefully coming soon do inspire the best in all of us to push ourselves a little bit more, find a little time to do something. And because it can seem like the world is like overwhelming and taking up all of your time and all of your resources and everything else. But there's always a way, somehow, some way. And it's an exercise, though. It takes effort. It really does. It's not like one of the things that drives me a little nuts, and I'll point it out here, is that guilty push that you need to support your community. You need no. But consider it. Consider supporting your community in something because we all live here, right? Now, everybody, if you're looking online and you get caught up in groups, and I'm not going to pick on anyone because they're all the same, but the tribalism inside of there will find people leaning into the negativity things hard nowadays, and not. I don't think it's a lot more than before. People, could be on the town square gossiping 100 years ago, uh, but it gets amplified now, and then people will dogpile with it because again, doing the negative stuff is fact is easier than the positive stuff because it just is. I mean, why? I don't know. It's terrible. Maybe it's just because the habit is so ingrained, and maybe if we break the habit enough and often enough that it'll break away. But it's easy. It's easy. Easy being negative is easy. It's sort of like I remember when I was a kid when I first heard the thing about like smiling, that it actually takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. But people tend to frown more than they smile when smiling's easier. Kind of a big lesson in that whole example. Just saying. But anyway, just something to think about once again. We're 38 minutes into this thing this morning. Can you believe we made it this far? And it's only not even a half a cup. It's a half a cup of coffee worth right now. Crazy. That's productivity. But yeah, but just finding a couple just a couple things. Hey, I just saw that John Morgan got a birthday, and James Glick, Facebook just told me, James, I'm not sure who you are. Happy birthday, James Glick. John Morgan, I do know who you are. Happy birthday, buddy. So there's that. Go tell them happy birthday because Facebook told you to. Also, okay, the Arkansas Virtual Stump page. There are two Virtual Stump Ant Multimedia connections out there. One's a group and one is a page, and we're going to be feeding both because, well, they both serve two different purposes in Facebook land, so they are what they are. So we're just going to do both, just to keep it simple, ish, right? But again, it's about again, it's inside of the Virtual Stump ecosystem. I got to do my part in spreading the word on it. And I'm going to ask you to share it and to follow it and do all those things, of course, because how it works. But at the same time, the onus is on me to get it promoted all throughout the state, which I will. Because why? I'm stubborn in a good way, I think. We'll find out. But I got so many little trinkets around here. I just keep reaching for stuff. It's like I'm not distracted, but maybe I am a little. I still love these little David Icke reptilian coins I put together. I'm gonna put together a game of some sort, I think, like a flip game to think about it. I don't know. We're gonna have some fun with those. See, use your imagination and your creativity, even if it is silly. Number one rule of thumb is don't, don't stop. Just play. So Derek just chimed in here. Frowning goes with gravity, smiling goes against gravity, unless you're standing on your head. Then it's opposite. Well, that's a fair statement. That is a very fair statement. And I get that. Oh, and then Damien, if you're smiling, you're up to something. Maybe. You know me, I am. So oh my goodness. Hey, there's Mark. Good morning, Mark. And glad to see everybody playing along this morning because again, this is about having coffee. I don't have an agenda. I got talking points that I do because I got my own thing here, and again, I like sharing it because otherwise I wouldn't have done it. It's like I wrote a book that I'm just going to keep to myself forever and ever. Well, why the hell did you write a book? Because I want to keep it for myself forever and ever. Oh, that's crazy. But even in that though, as I say in jest, I encourage everyone to write a book, whether you publish it or not. Start keeping a journal, keeping a log, and do those things. If not for you, which it will help you because you kind of clear your head out, do a little brain dump, but then also for future generations, because there's no better way for them to get to know you than your own words. And so long as you still got a pen and paper, you can do that. I mean, sure, you can type it up on the computer, print it out, whatever, but however, just document the experience because how cool would it be? Think back of the stories that you've heard about the people who came before you and your family. So I was fortunate enough growing up that like all my dad's aunts and uncles, my great aunts and uncles, I grew up with them. So I was able to collect a lot of their later year stories. But I heard about a lot of their younger year stories. And I tell you what, they were a wild and crazy bunch, and I would love to have video on some of this stuff, even though I think it could have been used as evidence at the time. But statute of limitations is passed now. So anyway, but to be able to actually get the firsthand account of things from your family's history, I personally think that is fantastic. I think it would be cool. I would love to actually have a journal that would have captured my grandfather's journey, which is a fascinating story to me. And my aunt Marlena had done some of the digging and the genealogical research because there was a lot of mystery and questions when it came to my grandfather because um, we just didn't know, right? Nobody ever talked about it. It was back in those days. But my grandfather and his family originally started in Ukraine. All right. Up until the Bolshevik Revolution. When the Bolsheviks came in and all hell broke loose there then, let alone now. But the Bolshevik Revolution really was a nasty ass time. But anyway, so he and his family, and plus his father, got killed in the Bolshevik Revolution. So mm, they got out of there. But they first went, and we didn't find this out until way later in life, long after he had passed, that actually they had originally immigrated to Canada, right? And then from there, my grandfather went through New York to go to Pennsylvania to meet my grandmother and buy the farmland in Arkansas, where he set up a new homestead. And that was in 48, right? So, but now you do the math between the Bolshevik Revolution and 48, there was a whole lot of life in there that we didn't know anything about. And there is a story there. And I guess I could share it. I mean, whatever. But no, see, actually, when they left, it was him and his mother and his brother. We didn't know anything about, by the way, until Marlena did the digging, and then a sister. But they went to Canada, set up shop. He had a whole other life. He had a whole other wife, and kids. We didn't know anything about until dun dun dun. The brother messed around with the wife. Dun dun dun. And that's when he said, "Okay, I'm done." He had worked for the railroad the whole time. He was actually on the process of being able to retire from the Canadian Railroad. That's a good span of time. And we don't know anything about, other than what we can kind of connect dots on from what little bit of information we've been able to find. Well, Marlena found. She did a great job. But we don't know a whole lot. And I would love to have that record just to understand things because it's a totally different perspective, shakes everything. But see, I don't know. Write it down, save it, future generations. Even the salacious stuff that you might be doing right now, I know you. Hide it. Could be fun conversation in 100 years. Again, like that whole family drama that we knew nothing about, but a fascinating story. Or stay away from it. Your choice. Me personally, I mean, all the crime drama shows and all the other um, Hallmark movies and stuff like that that like really dive into that type of subject matter. It's usually possible. Now, just imagine if you knew the players on the field. I'm just saying, kind of fun to me anyway. So, anywho, I am so glad to see everybody starting to chime in on the chat because, again, it's not about me or in the comments. Because, again, it's not about me. It's about us getting together and having coffee. And you guys get to meet each other and get to know others more beyond just like if you're someone who's like, you know, I have such a lean on the whole people running for public service. That's important. And I won't shut up about that. But at the same time, people in the community getting to know each other again and connecting with each other again more so, I'm not picking when I say this, but you think about most social stuff you see locally is normally, local businesses having to promote their stuff in that manner, and so it just kind of gets like, oh, that's all you're doing. Quit selling me stuff, man. Uh, Another reason why that when I came up with, again, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but when I came up with the philosophy of doing like evergreen content to speak directly to your existing and current like customers and group members and hobby friends and such, uh, to speak to them directly when you create stuff. Why? Because in doing so, you're talking to the people who love you, man, and they're going to keep loving you so long as you continue to show them the love and respect they deserve because they love and respect you. Give it back. But then also, as they spread the word about you, or they somebody out there sees something that you got going on, because it seems like a pretty cool place to be, uh, you'll have a cavalcade, a stack of great stuff for them to learn more about you. That's genuine and real, and not, you know, I don't know. But that's the philosophy behind doing that evergreen perspective. Because again, yeah, we've all got great stories to tell, and sometimes our great stories are terrible stories, but they're still a good story. Crazy. Oh, Jim, you silly, silly boy. What else is going on here? Nothing important. When I had a notification, I just want to make sure that something didn't go bad and go boom. It didn't, even though they keep saying it's going to. And always remember this, because if I can leave you with any food for thought in this box space, is that we're always getting bombarded with some kind of crazy stuff, different perspectives, different sides that may very well be just used to kind of manipulate you, program us. That's what it does. But be careful, especially when we get into the fear stuff, because fear is like the easiest emotion to put into people and wreck their day and their lives and control them. It's just true. Fear is indeed, if there is indeed a tool of the devil, fear is most certainly it. And so be mindful of it because you can beat it because fear ain't real, man. Well, excuse me, fear is real, but it's something you can control and conquer. You can do it. I know you can. Doesn't mean bad things don't happen. Don't. I'm not being delusional. So, but at the same time, you can mitigate them better when they do. I'm just saying. All right, we're 12 minutes away from 9 o'clock hour. I got a full to-do list on deck that I need to get after. But I hope again you'll take me up on my challenge of the heart of my heart of gold challenge for the day. Think about that. You're already thinking about him because I already planted the seed. That person with a heart of gold that you know, reach out to him today just to say hi. Give him a call, shoot him a text, maybe an email, or set up a time to have some coffee. You can do it. I know you can. And both of y'all will be better for it. And again, it doesn't have to be someone you directly know. Maybe it's somebody you don't know. Maybe it's like, I don't know. Even like, say you're a fan of, I don't even know who anybody be a fan of anymore on that space. They wreck celebrity. Okay, well, anyway, think of like your favorite movie actor and send them a message. Write them a letter. Hell, I'm sure they got a P.O. box somewhere. Do it. Something that touched you, an artist of some sort, musician or actor or filmmaker or whatever. Send them a letter. Why not? You can still do that. You can still put a letter in the mail. It may cost you $35,000 to mail it these days, but at the same time, you can do it. Check it out. It'll be fun. It'll be good for you. It'll be good for them. It'll be good for the whole planet. Go for it. All right, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I need to get to work on stuff. And I gotta find that damn magnet for my microphone. I really have no idea. Most likely, it being a magnet, it probably stuck to like underneath my chair. So I'm going to. It's just weird. It just disappeared into the void. I'm not happy with that, but I'm sure I'll find it because I'm just right here. It couldn't have went anywhere else. It's just hiding. And so far in this game of hide and seek, it is winning. So anyway, check out Virtual Stump. Go to ArkansasVirtualStump.com, Virtual Stump, or TheVirtualStump.com, and 72601life.com/Virtual Stump, because we're going to grow this movement. Because again, it's all about connecting communities and informing the people in the things that we, my friends, need to hold on to as the thing that we actually control. Because if we don't, somebody else will do it for us. We don't need that. No one does. Enjoy your day. And then when you have a great moment with that heart of gold person, share that. I mean, it's cool seeing your kittens and your food, but share those other stories too, because they're awesome. And it's how we maintain our humanity inside of this crazy world of AI and social media. Anyway, have a great one, gang, and we'll see you very, very, very soon.